All right, let's take the last leg of the discussions this morning. The last arm of the law, the long arm rather, of the law has caught up with some members of Boko Haram at the Federal High Court sitting at the Wawa Cantonment in Kenji, Niger State, has sentenced 113 of them to jail over their involvement in terrorism.
That's right. One of them, Kabiru Mohammed, was sentenced to 30 years in prison for receiving training in the U.S. And the use of explosives, I beg your pardon, and other terrorism items. Also sentenced to 4 years imprisonment is Zainab Idris, wife of Boko Haram Commander Babawo Idris. Let's now bring in Tony Ofoyato. He's the Director, Institute of Security. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Thanks.
Well, that's what a federal high court did the sentencing as it is. Are you satisfied with what we've got so far in terms of sentencing them to life in prison?
Well, I think the first succor and the first encouragement is that we are beginning to see convictions. That's good enough because this is one of the things we have advocated for severally, that once terrorists are apprehended, they should be made to face the court and let the court pass its judgments. Many a times I've been displeased when I hear that the military handed over inmates to executive governors, and executive governors are setting them free on ground of good behavior. And when millions and hundreds and thousands of people are dying, it can be so demoralizing, so painful. So for now that we have this conviction, I think it's a good one in the right direction. We are also looking forward to a situation where we really have sponsors. Because if you look at all this, I see most of them, if not all of them, as foot soldiers. Foot soldiers ordinarily don't make much impact when it comes to prosecution and conviction. No, you should be talking about the sponsors. You should be talking about those that are actually behind them, financially, the strategists. You should be talking about those that are also, you know, in government, in top position.
That that help them with logistics.
Those that help them with logistics. Those that also divulge sensitive information to them. Now, these are the type of people that will be prosecuted and will convicted, and it will make the desired impact. In as much as we lionize this that have been done. But the truth is that this is not going to make the desired impact. Rather, they are more or less like sacrificial lamb. Because they are the foot soldiers. They are boys that were sent. Even if they were not convicted and they died, they are just like one of those casualties. So you should be talking about who are the sponsors. What if now look at it from this angle? If you are able to convict these guys on grounds of terrorism, you should be able to nexus them to those that sent them on those acts of terrorism.
But do you think government is interested in prosecuting those who are involved? Because at the time the government came to tell us, we know those who are behind terrorism. We know those financiers. And in fact, there was a threat to name them, to you know, publish the names of people who were behind all of this at the time. We have had that before so many years ago.
I believe the government. I believe the government in its entirety. That the government knew those that are perpetrating the act of violence in this country.
So why wouldn't they prosecute those
I
ones?
wish I am in government to answer that question. But the painful thing is that we use the lives of human beings, and now we begin to spill blood as if it doesn't matter. If you look at the number of cows that are killed on a daily basis vis-a-vis human beings that are killed on a daily basis, it's like it's beginning to run, you know, pari passu, almost on the same pedestal. Even in countries that have been identified as terrorist countries in the world for years, the spate of killing in those countries are not as enormous as what we have in Nigeria today. Look at what is happening in Benue State. Look at the massacre in Jos. Look at what just happened in Sokoto. Sokoto,
yes, on Tuesday,
the seat of the caliphate.
Look at it. Now, Sokoto of all places, Now, it speaks volume. It simply means that, look, those that say we know them, and those that have been identified with them, nexus with them, directly or indirectly, as far as I'm concerned, we plead with the DSS to do their job.
All right, Tony. Very quickly, we do not have time anymore, unfortunately. When we talk about these things, time is always not a good friend at all. More recently, some Boko Haram members who were told surrendered willingly to security operatives, and some have been a little worried about the sincerity of those ones who surrender willingly. Are you also worried?
Of course, because you are talking about radicalization. And when you are talking about radicalization, before you can bear arm to attack a group of people, community, or the other religion, now you have been indoctrinated to certain level that you already have a different notion. Now to now say that we are laying down our arms because we are now repentant, the question will be, what made you to become repentant? Because don't forget that religion is innate. It's so inherent to the extent it's a belief, and it's more or less like a life. Now, and the terrorists, they have different strategic approaches. Some will come softly, some are of the academic, some are of the military, some are right even inside the government, some are in the field, some are the financials, some are the informants. So you see that it has a big network, and that is why the military must not be so, trapped into believing that people will tell you that we are surrendering because we are now repentant. I don't want to buy into that philosophy or point of view at all in any way whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Former President Goodluck Jonathan admitted at the time that even the security agencies have been infiltrated by Boko Haram at the time, he admitted. So we look forward to, Nigerians look forward to when there's going to be absolute peace, where government will decide, because they say they know these people, to decide to prosecute all those ones.
We are eagerly looking forward to. But the truth is that for now, I'm not too optimistic about the government's sincerity in combating terrorism.
All right. We have to leave it here now. Tony Ofoeton, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Director, Nigerian Institute of Security.
International,
I beg your pardon.
Exactly. Thank you.